Okay, so here we go. So welcome. Happy April 29th. I cannot believe we are almost in the month of May. I have some slides here, which we're just going to start with. Give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen with you guys in a second so you can see everything. Oops. 1 second. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start this. And again, feel free to jump in at any time that if you want to. You can definitely unmute yourself and say something, and we'll kind of take it up from there. And again, thank you guys all for coming this morning. I always like to start it off with good news. If anyone has anything that's happened in their personal life, anything that's happened, work related, anything they kind of want to share for good news and things that have happened, this is a time to start it off with some good news. Again, I can say that as a company, as the offices, we have a really good month going on right now. We've had a couple closings, we've had a couple rentals, we've got some new agents doing rentals, we've got some new people coming up. So for me, I'm excited of kind of what's going on this month. Does anyone else have anything that they would like to share with the group?
Well, Jason, can you hear me?
Yep, I can, Paris.
So I have a question because, I'm working on this deal with this apartment.
Sure.
So do I need to have the client, the lady that's renting it out, it's a lease break. Do I need to have her to sign a document between I and her in order to represent her to lease the apartment?
Can we talk about that separately? Is that okay? Sorry.
And then the other thing, because you're probably going to cover this, is there a COVID-19 waiver for liability for us?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yep. And again, we can kind of discuss that as we go on. So again, anyone have any news? And again, Paris, that's good news. You got a rental application in, so I don't want to mitigate that factor, but congratulations on that. But we'll talk about any specifics, one-on-one. I think it's a little bit better. So.
Jason, we had a closing set for the 4th.
Closing set? Oh, awesome. Congratulations, Suzanne.
Yeah, we're very
and fingers crossed, this is going to be the Soho office's first all under one roof official deal with broker, mortgage, and insurance. So that's
Woo-hoo! I have to say Karen did most of this. She's been really on top of it. So I have to give her a shout out.
Okay.
Woo-hoo!
Jason?
Great. Ellen, yep.
I had a closing from the listing from hell yesterday.
Congratulations.
And it's done, it's over. That's it. So
Awesome. Congratulations, Ellen, on that closing. Anyone else? Okay, we'll keep going on. Birthdays on May 2nd, so in a couple days, we have Victor from the Midtown offices birthday coming up. So happy early birthday, Victor, and everyone make sure you wish him a happy birthday. And we have a new agent. Her name is Holly. She was formerly with Keller Williams. She's officially joined up with Weichert, and she does a lot of deals kind of uptown Manhattan, Harlem and that area, but all over Manhattan and Brooklyn as well. So again, just as a reminder and a plug, if you know of anyone from another company, someone who's maybe thinking about getting their license, put us in touch. It's always a good thing, especially for seasoned agents who you think would be a good cultural fit with our offices and things like that. I'd love to speak with them. And there are some incentives for you. So again, anyone that that might be like, well, I'm not getting the support I need, or we don't have the tools and the training or whatever it might be, happy to talk to people. So. Okay, so again, my quotes, I like my quotes. Nothing happens until something moves, Albert Einstein. We've been talking, over the past couple of weeks about what we can do. Some people like Suzanne, like Ellen, like Paris are moving. They're doing things. They're still working. Some of us are a little more hesitant, a little more reticent, and things like that. But this is kind of an interpretation of the law of inertia. Body at rest stays at rest. The body in motion stays in motion until acted upon by an outside force. And so some of us need a little bit of a push. And so a little bit of what we're going to talk about today is what to do to push you and what you might be able to do that you feel comfortable with to get your business started again. So again, the main question for me is, in real estate, we are in business for ourselves, right? We are real estate agents. We are in partnership with Weichert, but we are real estate agents who own a business. And again, you have to ask yourself, do you own a business? Do you want to own a business? Because if you don't want to own a business, this might not be the best field for you. But the one thing that kind of every business really needs are customers or clients or prospects. And again, I just wanted to go over a way of thinking about things that you can do that have zero upfront costs whatsoever, not a dime out of your pocket. The only thing these might cost you is time. And again, if you don't have any clients, if you're saying, I don't know where my next deal is coming from, this is a really, really good thing to think about, and think about these different systems that I'm going to just briefly talk about, and what they can do to kind of start building your business. So again, Weichert rental network leads. Those leads are 100% free. Yes, you pay a referral fee at closing and things like that. And yes, the split's not the best split whatsoever, but they are clients that you did not have, that you're getting for free up front. You're not paying anything for these, and you can work with them. I know that a number of agents have been getting these rental lead network clients. Some of them are, a little more challenging in terms of the price range, but again, we can speak to success stories that we've had with these rental network leads. And again, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. The Weichert lead network, again, the lead count is unfortunately very down right now. But every once in a while we do get a lead. So if you're not on the lead network, get on it. Those are free leads. You're not paying anything up front for it. Yes, you're paying a referral at closing. Again, I'm not mitigating that factor whatsoever. But if you're not working with people and you don't have business, this is business that you can get. And one of the things that we can do is we can reconnect with old leads that we might have had. And the My Weichert system makes it really easy to reconnect with those people. If you're not on OpCity, let me know and we can get you on OpCity. These are usually buyer leads. Sometimes they're seller leads. A lot of them tend to be out in Queens, in Brooklyn, in Staten Island. Again, I know one of my agents is beginning a ton for Staten Island, and they might not want to work those, but maybe you're like, I can go to Staten Island. I have a car. I'm okay with that. We can get you on OpCity. And again, it's just a free source of leads. These are potential buyers, mostly, sometimes sellers, that you can get no upfront cost whatsoever. This is not costing you a dime out of your pocket for marketing, for anything like that. Something for our more experienced agents. And again, StreetEasy has changed the way that they're doing their building expert pages. A number of people have signed up for this. Basically, you should have gotten, if you're eligible, a DocuSign in your email from StreetEasy. We have the opportunity to be put on as a StreetEasy building expert on the pages for free, no upfront costs. And it's kind of like OpCity with a referral fee if someone comes through to you. Basically, you're eligible if you've represented a buyer or a seller in a building, and you do have the option of turning yourself on or off for that program. But again, just another way that you can potentially get more people to work with. Again, what I like to call some of the low-hanging fruit, for sale by owners and expired listings. Again, these are free. Nothing you have to do. You can just reach out to people like that. You can talk to them. You can potentially work on helping them with marketing. Again, all we're doing is saying, hey, we'd love to help you with the marketing of this. Maybe they're only on StreetEasy, and you can get them on 400 different websites through Weichert. Maybe they'll allow you to do that. A lot of the times, and again, one of the agents in the Soho office, Selman, has done this, and he got a number of owners to allow him to advertise on the broker sites, because that owner was willing to pay a fee and to a buyer's agent. And so he said, what if I put this up as a lower fee, 3% fee, 1.5%, but maybe I'll get some buyers off it. And again, just working with people like that. And the same thing for expired listings. Again, referrals from Weichert offices. There's been a thought pattern shift and kind of a little bit of a change in terms of where people might want to live right now. Again, I'm not saying that everyone's leaving the city, but there are certain people who say, I need more space. I need more outdoor space. I need a bigger apartment. I have 2 kids in a 1-bedroom apartment. I don't want that anymore. And so Weichert offices in New Jersey, in Pennsylvania, even all the way down to DC, are getting buyers from New York City right now. And so connecting with some of these agents, top agents in these offices, and again, connecting with referral associates out there is a great way, because those people might need to be listing their places here, or a lease break that you could maybe take over and find tenants for and things like that. And so what a really good thing to do is pick an office, or pick a couple offices, contact a few people from those offices, and just make sure they know that you have coverage in New York City for buyers, sellers, rentals, commercial, for all that stuff. The final one for me, and again, this is the simplest, especially with the system. It is so easy. We can do emailing prospecting with Cole Realty and My Weichert. Basically, it takes about 3 seconds to do, right? You go into Cole Realty, you put in a zip code, you pull email addresses for that zip code. You can do 1,500 at a time. Most zip codes have anywhere between 3 and 10,000. So you just have to export a couple different lists. You pull through that list, you put it into My Weichert. You put in a hashtag for them of the zip code or of the neighborhood or whatever you want to call it, and then you start blasting them. And again, we are allowed to do email blasting during the pandemic. It's not a problem. And again, some people are going to say, take me off this list. Who cares? Some people are going to say, you know what? I'm not looking to buy now, but I might be in a couple of years. Great. New prospect for you. And again, it's all a numbers game in this. This is kind of cold, very cold prospecting, but you never know what you're going to get. And it's all about sharing with them information about the neighborhood, about the market, about opportunities in their neighborhood, whatever it is. It's just, but it's free. It's 100% free. You don't have to pay a dime for any of these things on here. And so just think about it and think about where your next deal is coming from. Again, congratulations to Ellen. She had the most recent closing. Now, Ellen, where's your next deal coming from? And again, I'm very confident because I know Ellen can tell me where her next deal is coming from because she's a very, very hard worker. Suzanne has a closing in a week. She can tell me where her next deal is coming from because she has a listing. But if you're a newer agent, and you don't have that security and you don't have these things, you should be doing this. And if you're an experienced agent and you say, hey, I would like to do more deals, I want to get more going, you should do these things as well. And again, these are all 100% free. The only thing it takes is time, and most of them don't take that much time. So if you're saying, hey, I've got kids, I've got a job, I've got whatever it is, you could basically hit all of these things in probably, 8 hours a week. That's it. I'm not asking for 40-hour work weeks. If you want to work 40 hours, great, do it. But you can do this, you can do prospecting, you can work with clients, you can get clients, because the day that they say we can go show apartments, wouldn't you rather have 10 or 20 or 30 that you could work with rather than not knowing what you're going to be doing or trying to prospect them? Because there's once the floodgates open, there's going to be people moving to rent places, to buy places and things like that. So any questions about this? I'm going to keep going if we don't have any. Okay, so I'd like to thank Paris for sending this over. This is a worksheet from the New York City Commission on Human Rights. You might not be able to read it. Don't worry, I'm going to send it out to you guys. This is to remind everyone that income discrimination, so discrimination based on any legal or lawful source of income, is against the law in New York City. That means, and again, the way that you'll usually find this is that landlords will say, I am not accepting Section 8 vouchers. I'm not accepting city housing and things like that. If that happens, you are obligated as a licensed real estate agent to report it to the city. You are obligated to report it to the city. And we can be fined, and you can be fined up to $250,000 per violation. Oops, sorry. If you are found kind of in abetting in that, aiding and abetting. Slide issues. So again, one of the most important things that we have to do is that we have to abide by the law. Again, we are licensed by the Department of State. They hold our license. We have to do these things. So again, if a landlord is not taking vouchers, or they say, if an agent says, I do not take vouchers, or this landlord doesn't take vouchers, then let me know, because again, we are obligated to report these things. Basically, and again, I'm going to send this out so you can go into it in details, but these kind of affordable housing and different kind of Section 8 or HPD or HUD or all these different programs that exist, they are to help people get into apartments, and those count as income. So the voucher programs make sure that the person can afford it and make sure that they're paying it. And so they don't need to consider credit when they're doing it. They're not allowed to really run credit reports because the vouchers count as them having good credit, basically. And again, if you run into any issues with this, and again, sometimes we get from Rental Lead Network, sometimes from Op City, people who are using these programs. Again, I'd love to applaud Paris in the Soho office. He has made it a lot of his work to help people with these vouchers and with these programs to find housing. And he's found a way to be very successful at it. So I would like to give a shout out to Paris and for bringing this to our attention. And again, I'm going to send this out to you guys, but if you run into a case where you have someone who is using a voucher or something like that, then make sure that you're letting me know if you're having landlords, if you're having owners, if you're having brokers say they don't accept the voucher, because we can be held liable if there are some issues with that. So this is just a reminder to that.
Jason,
Ellen?
I put into the chat, does that include co-ops? Co-op rentals?
I do not know. Let me find that question out. It could actually. So let me confirm that, but it could. Okay, I'll try to reach out to Neil at Rebney to get a better clarification on that. Thank you for the question, Owen. The second new thing is, and again, for those of you who've been in the business for a number of years, you know, we can all vouch for the fact that every couple years there's a new disclosure form that we have to get signed. You know, there was, you know, obviously there's always been, you know, the lead paint one, and then came along the agency disclosure form, and then the bed bug disclosure form, and last year it was the stove knob disclosure form. Well, we now have a fair housing disclosure, and again, I think this is a really good one actually. And what this is it's a form that's going to need to be signed for any deals that we're doing, buyers, sellers, rentals. This actually is also applies to vacant lots and things like that. They clarified. Basically, it just affirms that the people understand that it is illegal in New York State to discriminate based on race, creed, color, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, military status, sex, age, disability, marital status, lawful source of income, or familial status. Again, you know, this is to make sure they understand they cannot be discriminated against. And what does discriminating mean? It means that you could try to increase the price if someone is a part of one of these protected classes. It means that they, you know, that people could be pressured to violate the law, that, you know, and anything in terms of the negotiation. Again, you know, if someone finds out they have a service dog and they're like, well, I'll take them if they increase the price by 15%. You know, that's happened before, and people try to do that, and that is 100% illegal based on fair housing. So again, it's making sure that these things are taken into account. Again, I'll send this disclosure form out. The enforcement, I believe, begins in May, but just again, start looking through it. We're going to try to put together an editable version so we can put it in kind of that Dropbox and things like that, but it's pretty easy. Oops, sorry again.
Jason, another question. Is
Sure.
this to be signed by the seller, the buyer,
Everyone.
everyone? So
Yeah.
you need 2 of these if you have a listing.
Exactly. So you'll have it signed by again anyone that we're representing. So it's very similar to a disclosure form. It's just disclosing. It's just disclosing what's going on with fair housing. So again, you put your company and that they understand. So it's either the real estate consumer, the seller, or the landlord, basically. So, and again, they haven't fully published when this needs to be signed and things like that. So we're going to wait to give that out, but I'm going to send out the form to everyone so you can start looking at it. And this is the form that we're going to be using. So, okay. So one, I think really interesting program. And again, this is not something that is going to make you rich. This is not something that is going to, you know, make a big difference. Potentially, maybe it does make a big difference, but maybe this pays for the photographs for an apartment. Maybe this helps with, you know, paying for a property boost on online and stuff like that. But basically, Weichert is having a new listing bonus through the end of May. If you get a sale listing for a co-op, a condo, a single family, a multifamily, basically anything besides a vacant lot that we would sell, if you get a 5% commission for a 6-month exclusive period, you as soon as the exclusive goes in and you send it over to me and it's processed in, the next week you'll get $100 direct deposit, just $100. You just get paid back basically. And again, it's basically meant to be some sort of bonus for people to go out after listings and things like that. It's a great incentive potentially. Again, maybe it doesn't make a big difference to you, but it's just something that could be a little bit of icing on the cake, let's say. So definitely take advantage of it. If you're a big lister, if you want to go after listings, it's a little bit more money in your pocket. And again, pays for the photos at least. So basically you can see it as free photos of the listing. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Jamie Goldberg, our insurance specialist.
Hello, everybody. Still here, sitting in my basement, doing my thing, and everything's going as expected. Anyone that needs insurance, we're still here. We're up and running for your clients, doing everything that we can. As you can see on the screen there, we're still giving away the $50 free Amazon gift card if you let me make a quote, do a quote on your own personal insurance. As I've stated in the past, it does take a little time to get them because they have to order them, get the codes, and then get them to me. Then you should be getting a call from me at some point. If I haven't given it to you already, if I've left you a message, get in touch with me because I have your code if I haven't already given it to you. Other than that, it's all, everything's status quo here on the insurance front. I'm working in my basement all day long. I'm here to, help anyone if you need it, for yourself, for your clients, for anyone, for your friends and family. It's free quote for your friends and family also. Not free money, just free money for you on your personal, but free, but it doesn't cost anything for anybody, for me to just even take a look at it for them. You never know. I do save a lot of people money, even people who didn't think that they were going to save, but then allowed me to take a look at it. So if you have any questions for me, you have my email, you have my phone number. If you have any questions now that I might be able to answer, whatever you need, I'm here for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamie.
Yep.
And we're going to turn it over to Doug Cleary. Doug, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Oh, I heard you for a second. I think he needs to unmute himself. You there, Doug?
Okay.
There we go.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So first off, wanted to start out by thanking Suzanne and Karen again. We have our deal closing on Monday, and I think it worked very well. I think the borrowers are happy, and it's, this one is our first all under one roof deal. It's also a loan being approved in these unusual times. So I thank them very much, and I think it's a really good thing. Wanted to give you an update on rates very quickly. Rates are very good. They've been, amidst this current environment, they've been on a bit of a roller coaster. They started out going up when this whole thing started, which was a little unusual because normally when people take money out of the stock market, they'll put it into bonds, which helps rates, but it seems that they were taking it off the table entirely. So they weren't buying bonds either. Then that kind of settled down. The best pocket of money is the conforming pocket, which is loans under 510,000, which doesn't, apply to us as much, but somewhat. The next pocket up, which is the high balance, is still good. It's just not as attractive. The first bucket is very attractive right now. The rates for that bucket are about as low as I've seen. To give you an idea, we're at about 3.25 on a 30-year fixed right now. So that's very good. Also, with this whole new world that we live in, a lot of programs have updated guidelines. They've tightened them. So credit requirements, down payment requirements, loan-to-value requirements may have changed. If you're working with somebody, I suggest you have their pre-approval rechecked. I'm happy to do that for you, even if I'm not part of the transaction. Just to give you an example, credit requirements for certain banks, they've added their own layers on top of Freddie and Fannie have gone from 620 to 700. Some banks are requiring 20% down across the board. So we're not adding any overlays to what Freddie and Fannie is requiring. So that's a good thing. So we still have the same, requirements as Freddie and Fannie. We're not adding anything on top of it. Another important thing right now is turn times. Many places are completely overwhelmed, and I think part of it is a lot of the back office is working from home, and for whatever reason, it's just not working as well. In addition to the fact that they already had a full pipeline with refinances prior to the COVID situation. We are still closing in our normal time frame, which is amazing. We're still closing a purchase commonly in 60 days. So this is a very big thing to remember. Another thing to remember in association with that is if you're working with a buyer and they happen to get furloughed, they're laid off their job or their hours are cut back, the bank is generally going to count what their current situation is. So the longer you're in process, if the loan takes 4 months to approve, and that's what it's taking many times, you run the risk that the borrower is going to get furloughed in that process. So the longer it takes for the loan to get approved and closed, the more likely there are for potential problems. So that's a real good thing. Our turn times are the same as they ever were. And that's reflected, I don't know if we have the slides, but there was, we give out surveys to borrowers after they close. And there it is. We have 98% satisfaction with the survey. And, we commonly, me personally and my colleagues, we commonly get 4 and 5 star reviews from customers. And one of the major questions asked of the customer is, would you refer us to a friend or family member? And we're getting very high marks with all that. So the customers are happy. This slide here, if you can see it, also talks about another important thing, which we have, the fact that we are in-house. If there is a problem with the appraisal or with the underwriting in general, we have some pull. We can go to the underwriter and talk to them, or we can, appeal the appraisal in a meaningful way. If you're dealing with a broker or potentially a big bank, it depends on the bank and the person working there, they might have less pull getting something through if there is any kind of issue. And we are running into things because of the COVID that we didn't have, like verifications of employments are coming just before closing now with pretty much every lender, whereas normally it would be say 10 days before closing. Now we're doing it 2 days. So there's just different processes. So if there's any kind of issue or hold up or anything like that, you want somebody on the inside to be able to kind of push it through. So that's what we can do. I don't want to take too much time, but if I'll summarize by saying if you have a pre-approval from anywhere and you want me to check it for you, I'm happy to do that, even if I'm not part of the transaction. If I can help you in any way, if you want to check on a particular guideline or requirement, please do so. Also, the app, which we haven't talked about as much lately, it's probably more important now than ever because we're dealing in a virtual world. I believe most everyone has it. I was going through the list this morning and I was sending out some more invites to people who may not have it. You have to accept the terms of it for it to be active. So there was a couple of people who hadn't done that, and I can send you an email privately, but use the app. It's actually, especially now, it's a very great way to stay in touch with customers in the virtual world. It costs you nothing. My company pays for it, Weichert Financial pays for it, but it doesn't cost you anything. So it's free marketing for you. And basically, if anyone needs me, please feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doug. Really appreciate it. Annabelle unfortunately had another meeting, so she had to jump off. But just a reminder, in case you do not have her information, Annabelle's cell phone number is on here and her email address. She's our amazing MTS. A lot of you have done one-on-ones with her, gone through the My Weichert system. Her main goal right now is to get everyone familiar with the system, using it, starting to prospect, getting their contacts in there and things like that, making sure your website's up. So if you haven't done a one-on-one with her to go over the system, please do. We're asking people to have the first week at least, or the first 2 weeks of the training done before they do sit down with her, just so then you at least have some sort of general familiarity with the site. So if you haven't done that yet, again, reach out to her, call, text, email, and set something up. She's available Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for one-on-one. So So I think we're running a little ahead of schedule. So I'm going to wait. We'll bounce back to Urban Digs. They're going to be coming and talking a little bit about the market report, and stuff like that. So just a reminder for some upcoming workshops. Again, I'll send out these slides. So don't worry if it's tiny on your screen. We have the Weichert Lead Network Specialist training today at 1. So if you are not a lead specialist, you can do that. Again, all of these workshops are available and on the virtual training calendar, which is in Weichert University. You can sign up for these webinars. Tomorrow at 10, there's a My Weichert Tools and Weichert.com lead management. At 1, dialogues to get more listings. At 6:30, virtual open houses. And then again, on Friday, conversations with Carlo, where Carlo's gonna be talking about the market, what's going on and stuff like that. So put these in your calendar and things like that. And again, you individually go and register for all of these before, then they'll send you a reminder for it. Oops. Yeah, sorry, my computer again. Okay, so we're gonna be doing a raffle at the next meeting. Again, the first one we did, we got some people to finish their business plan. This time I'm upping it. It's a $100 raffle, either in Design Center credits if you want to send postcards, or My Weichert credits if you want to do a property boost or do some targeted marketing on Facebook and stuff like that. So you only need to do 3 things. Very easy, shouldn't take you that long. So 1, complete your 2020 business plan if you have not already. It's 24 questions. At the end, you have to submit it so that it comes to me. I get an email saying that you've done it. You're good to go. The idea of this is that we can review what you want to accomplish in the rest of the year. And then again, we'll go over this at the one-on-one, which is step 3 of this. The second is to complete the My Weichert Agent Success Plan. So those 4 weeks. Basically, again, if you do it and you do all the things associated with it, it should take you about 20 hours. So, you've got 2 weeks, 10 hours a week to finish it. I don't think it should be that bad. And the other one is to schedule a one-on-one with me. Again, we hope to do monthly one-on-ones with everyone, just to go over their business, to go over what they need, what's going on, what I can do for you, what you're getting stuck on and things like that. I've met with a number of you in April. Again, I'd love to meet with all of you just to go over your business, what we can do to help you and help support you. Again, that's what I'm here for, to get everything done that you need. So schedule that. If you do those 3 things, our next meeting in 2 weeks, by then, you are eligible for the raffle. So $100. You know what? I'll switch it up too. If you want a $100 Amazon gift card, I'll give you that as well. So if you could use that more than doing marketing and stuff like that. So it's basically $100 that you're getting for doing these things. Feel free to enter. And again, if you're having any issues with any of it, let me know. That's what I'm here for. So I got some congratulations. The first one is to Tanya and Jock. They had a closing at 118 Decatur Street in Brooklyn, a multifamily property. So congratulations to them for that. Congratulations to Christine. Christine F. Is one of our newest agents in the Soho office. She did a rental on the Upper East Side during this whole thing. Virtual showing, virtual everything, leases signed, never actually had to go and show the property. And she did it within 3 weeks of getting her license. So a very special.
Wow, congratulations.
I think it's a record from what I can tell for the Soho office. So congratulations to Christine. Suzanne and Karen have a new rental listing at 21 West 16th Street. So congratulations on that. Yay. And again, just so you guys know, I'm very superstitious about telling people about anything until we know that you have like the exclusive sign. So some people might have listings that I'm not going to mention, and feel free at the end to mention it if you want to. So Mujtaba had his first closing at 48 Roman, a single family house in Staten Island, which is really, really great. That was his first deal. Leon just got a new listing at 244 Saratoga Avenue in Brooklyn. It is a lot in Brooklyn. It's very, very, very well priced. So if you know of anyone looking to develop a little tiny lot, let Leon know. And Michelle and Eunice, again, they've been working very hard. And as many of you know, they've had this co-op conversion in Brooklyn. And they've basically done multiple rentals and closings at 25 Parade Place in Brooklyn, as well as a couple other rentals over the last basically 2 weeks. So they've really done a lot. So congratulations to them. Okay, so again, oh, here we go. Noah's coming on. Let me add him. So Tanya said she has 3 amazing new rentals in Jersey City, just off the path. Congratulations, Tanya, for getting those listings. They're 2 and 3 bedrooms with a great rooftop, 30 seconds from the PATH train, 13 minutes to New York City. So that's pretty awesome for that. Again, hello, Noah, welcome. We're gonna go back to your slide in a second. I'm just gonna finish our slides. Again, I always like to have some time. Does anyone else have a new listing that they wanna tell people about? Does anyone need something for a client that they can't find on the market? This is a really great time just to open it up to any inventory that you need. You know, I have a client looking for X and Y, and maybe someone knows about something. So anyone wanna jump in or have anything that they're looking for?
Can I tell you about the ones on Grove Street? It's Tanya.
Sure.
Okay, so they are really amazing. 30 seconds to the from the Grove Street path. One is it's a 2-bedroom den, 4,900, an amazing rooftop. It's 1,350 square feet. Second one is 1,300 square feet. Balcony is a rooftop as well. And then there's a 950 square foot studio that's going to be 2,800. So 4,700, 4,900, and 2,800. And then I have another rental. Sorry guys, all in Jersey City. That is going to be 2,300, 1 bedroom at the Beacon, but you have a shuttle directly from the path there. So, and a new sale at the 88 Morgan, 1 bedroom, 675, Jersey City. That's the Trump building. So that's the Exchange Place path.
Very cool. Anyone else have any new listings for rent, for sale, anything coming to market? I have a 1-bedroom at 64 4th Place in Carroll Gardens. It's 2,850. It's like a 750 square foot, like railroad 2-bedroom, but really a 1-bedroom, huge king size bedroom, nicely renovated. The bathroom's okay. It's not amazing, but 1 flight up, really nice brownstone, about 4-minute walk to the F train there. So F and G. So if you have anyone looking in Brooklyn, I have that. So, okay, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit and we will let Noah take it away from here. Hi, Noah. Let me, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, so hopefully you can share your screen.
Hey, how are you?
Doing pretty well, thanks.
Good, thanks for having me. So I guess you want me to get right into it, huh?
Yeah, please. Again, most of you know Noah, from our other meetings and things like that. But again, Noah is from Urban Digs. They do all the back end for our Manhattan market report. A lot of you have started using Urban Digs and getting more for yourself in terms of neighborhood data and things like that. And again, Noah's really great and kind of an industry expert on what's going on with the market. And again, he's just going to talk to us a little bit about, how to effectively utilize the site. And again, I think one of the things that I think is very effective for us to use in going after kind of new business is a neighborhood market report and kind of pulling it for a neighborhood either in Manhattan or in Brooklyn. So I think if, take it away from here, Noah.
Sure. And Jason, remind me, you wanted me not so much to do a market update, but you wanted me to give you a overview of the tools, right?
Yeah, if you want to talk a little bit about what's going on or what you guys are seeing and again, how to pull that in Urban Digs, I think it would be helpful just to show everyone so they can do it.
Cool.
And again, just as a plug, basically, we have licenses for Urban Digs for agents. If you're going to use it, we will give you one. Just send me an email and we can kind of get you started with that. So
great. Thanks, Jason. Yeah, so these are really unprecedented times. Just to let all you guys know, I usually start out these meetings starting out at our YouTube channel. And I'm saying that because we put all sorts of content out there, ranging from weekly virus updates to podcasts around the industry, as well as roundtables. We just had a roundtable with a couple of CEOs. So this is where we're going to put everything out there with information, attorneys, lenders. I got a great lender podcast coming up with Adam Turkowitz. That's going to be an awesome one. And I've been putting out ones with attorneys, and they're basically telling you what you need to know from an attorney standpoint. So these are really helpful. With that said, let me go to Urban Digs. And like Jason said, if you guys need an account for Urban Digs, if you do not have one, you can contact him. But for those of you that do, you're familiar with the site. I'm going to go click on my charts. Okay. And I'm going to try to answer what Jason asked of me, and at the same time kind of tell you guys a story of what's going on here. I try to look at it like a story. But we are really in a dislocated, thinly traded illiquid market, highly illiquid market right now, right? And dislocated meaning the market's not operating normally, okay? And if you think of the market as a spread between bid and ask, like try to think of it as a trader would. There's a bid, there's an ask, there's usually a spread in between. We're trying to work out that deal and bridge that gap. Well, all those bids just dropped straight down here, and now that spread is very wide, and there's not a lot of deals happening. And we're going to get to how I track that and how I think you should track that, because everything I'm about to say in the next 15, 20 minutes is really something that you guys could do and you should be doing for your clients, because ultimately we're going to get out of this. When you have dislocations, a sharp dislocation like we had now, and you have a cliff dive, it's kind of like 2008 in that sense, the credit crisis, or March 2009 in that sense. It's more like 9/11 in the sense that we have a shutdown and we have fear, even though it's obviously deeper than that and affecting the whole globe. So we got this mad child of 9/11 and the credit crisis going on right here. But we have $6 trillion in stimulus and growing behind this. And I think that's going to put a floor on the New York City markets, okay? So whatever dislocation, whatever we're down, in my opinion, we already hit the bottom, all right? The bottom was probably deals that were signed in mid-March to end of March and early April, probably 3-4 weeks ago, was probably fear-based trades. So, and there's not a lot of them. So let's just go to the story right here. I want to start with supply. The story is really about supply. Both supply and demand are falling, but supply is falling at a much faster pace than demand, okay? So I look at supply and I go take a look at this chart, and let's just take a look at the story, okay? What the narrative is. And the narrative is, well, what do we usually do, right? Like let's have a frame of reference. What's typical for this time of year? And so I go back, all right? And what I did is here, I clicked the 3-year chart. I go back to last year. This is February, March last year, and take a look at supply. All right. And this is what happens every single year, in and out every single year. Supply goes on an upward trend until about June. All right. If I go back to 2018, same exact thing, upward trajectory until June. Okay. It just changes the levels, whether or not it's rising or falling, but generally we're going to rise until June. So now you take a look at what we just went through. Right. And come around early March, we stopped rising and we started seeing a huge decline. Now, since then, right, in the last week or so, I'm seeing a flattening of that curve, right? You guys are hearing that term, flattening of the curve, in this virus pandemic, right? And Fauci and all these guys are talking about, we need to stop it from going like this. We need to curve it out and bring it down so we know it's coming back the other way. It's normalizing. Well, for the first 4 weeks of the crisis, we've had a steep decline. And in the last week and a half, we're seeing a slowing down of the drop in supply. So let's just think about this. We came into this whole mess with buyers having a lot of leverage, okay? Like, let's understand where we came from. 2014, 2015 was our peak. We had a progressive deflation since then, a policy-driven reset, whatever you want to call it, since then, that was just lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. 2016, 17, 18, 19 was probably the low, and we were coming back. November, December, January, February, so deal volume coming back, and then Corona hit. Okay, so we were actually at that point where we were like rounding the curve in terms of a comeback, and then this happened. So buyers were going into this with discounts, with negotiability, and inventory. They had inventory. They had a lot of options before this, especially in the luxury market, the new development market, and all that kind of our townhouse sector, multifamily. They had tons of options. Now, they don't. So they're coming into this now with discounts, negotiability, but not nearly as much inventory. So the question is, what happens when we get out of this whole mess? When when those restrictions get eased, are we flipping the switch? And are thousands of inventory going to come back online that didn't come back online? If you think about why this went down, it's for 2 reasons. Okay, and let me go back to my chart room and I'll show you how I know this. Number 1, monthly new supply. Okay, a lot less stuff is coming on the market, right? Inventory rises because of a few reasons, but mainly because how much stuff is coming on the market. Also, you want off market at a low level. You don't want listings going off market because that lets inventory rise. And if pending sales and demand falls, that's another buoy for inventory. But the biggest force is how much stuff is coming on. How do sellers feel? That's what this is. Are sellers looking to sell? Are they not looking to sell? Okay, so we look at this chart, and I'm going to click on 3-year just to simplify it. And I go back to March. Let's start in March. Okay, last month first. and I look at this chart, and again, frame of reference, I like to know where I came from. You know, it's hard to know where you are or where you're going if you don't know where you came from. So always think back, where am I coming from? All right, let me get an understanding of what's typical. And what's typical in March, if I look back to 2019, 2018, and 2017 right here on your chart, 1792, 1787, 1768. That's beautiful convergence. That's what I'm looking for. That means high quality conclusions. Whenever you see same with comps. You're doing comps and you get convergence and you're trying to price $1.5 million property and you get 4 or 5 comps and it comes at 1.6, 1.58, 1.57, 1.55. That's great. That's what you want. What you don't want is one coming in at 1.8 and another one coming in at 1.3 and another one coming in at 900 and you're like, what the hell, right? You want convergence. Convergence means your quality of interpretation, the quality of confidence in saying what's typical is very high. So I could confidently say we get 1,800 listings, just under 1,800 listings come on in March, right? So we had 924 last month, which was partial exposure. A partial exposure month. April is our full exposure month. And again, everything I'm doing now is stuff you should be doing and talking to your clients about and relaying these kind of messages, right? I'm just trying to teach you now. So April, what's typical in April? This is how I think. All right, 2,200, 2,078, 1,801. All right, it's over 2,000, the average. Maybe it's 20, 25, 20, 30, doesn't matter. Over 2,000. So here's what I do. All right, I go to my dashboard. Let me open this in a new tab so I can toggle back and forth. Oops. Go to my dashboard here. And now I'm going to use my search tool. Okay. So I'm going to use 2 things here. I'm going to use my inventory, my time scale, and my statuses. I want to do inventory here. So I'm going to go, okay, what is the month to date? April. I want to go April 1st. I'm using my custom period here. I want April 1st, 2020 to April 29th. I want basically the whole month. And again, this is useful because 2 weeks ago, you know, you only had half a month of data. You wanted to see what kind of pace are we on. This is what you do. You use the time scale to do whatever custom period you want. Okay. 261. So I know I can go back to my here, 261, when we usually get over 2,000. So you see what I'm talking about here? So now I can accurately predict that supply in terms of what's coming on the market is down about 70% and is probably going to end the market down about 70%. Okay. Now, what happens when the restrictions get eased, right? There's a couple of trains of thought. One train of thought is it's a light switch. And I have brokers that are adamant. I got brokers that are yelling at me. I don't know why they're yelling at me, but they send emails that are very hateful to me, yelling at me with their own opinions. And that's fine. But I mean, don't get hateful with me, you know? I'm just reporting on the data and offering some opinions. And one theory is that, Noah, you're so crazy. You're talking about how inventory is going down. The minute restrictions get eased, 3,000 listings are going to come right back on the market and list immediately. And I'm like, all right, how long? Over the first week. And that's what this guy's arguing. And I'm like, I respect your opinion, but I just didn't, you know, I disagree with it. So you got a couple theories out there. Do you believe that when the restrictions are eased, you're going to see 2,000 or 3,000 listings back on the market immediately, and it's going to be a huge spike back up, and all those sellers that were waiting to sell and want to sell are just immediately going to come on? Or do you believe that maybe how one person feels, this is a human thought, how one person feels is different. How you feel is different. Just because you feel a certain way and you're confident getting your life back and going back out and living a social life doesn't mean somebody else is. So like you can speak for yourself, but you can't speak for other people. And I can't speak for other people. And I don't know what you guys are going to do, but I'm probably going to be toning it down and I'm not going to be going back so quickly. There might be brokers who are in a position where they feel they shouldn't be forced into a position where they have to run open houses. Think about this. Brokers are saying this on the other side of the coin. I'm a little worried. Just because my ease restrictions, I don't want to go out there and run an open house with 70 people there. I feel like my health is at risk. So you got 2 sides of the coin here. And this is what's going to happen once we start. So I think it's going to be coming back in stages. It's going to be coming back in stages over time. It's going to start small. It's going to get more and more and more and more. And as it gets, people feel better and feel more confident and hope to God there's a treatment, all this kind of stuff. We could see massive inflationary forces back into this market. Okay. Assuming that we don't have any bad news and we don't have any second wave and all that good stuff, we have $6+ trillion of stimulus that is going to take years. Think about 2009. And again, I'm doing this because I want you guys to understand how I think buyers buyers are thinking out there, right? But think back to 2009. You know, we had a mortgage-based credit crisis. It was isolated to the mortgage markets and Wall Street and that kind of stuff. It wasn't really everyone like this is. They put about $1 trillion. They put about $1 trillion into that whole thing, and it took about 6, 8, 9 months for them to realize it. That's why Lehman failed in 2008, and we really didn't have the bottom to 2009, all that kind of stuff. It took a while to play out. This time, the stimulus is 6 times that and growing. Probably going to be over 10 trillion. That's going to just be more and more and more. And they came out real fast. The Fed came out real fast. So I think the buyers out there, and this is where I'm going with this, the buyers out there there's 2 types of buyers out there. 80% of the buyers are going to probably be those buyers that is like, no way, I'm not touching this market, right? And that's depleting most of the buyer pool. And these are just typical conservative people that when times get rough, most people go to the sidelines or they go to cash and they don't want to catch a depreciating asset. Their risk tolerance is not ideally suited for this, right? And then you got 20% of buyers, which are going to be your opportunistic, fear of missing out FOMO buyers. Your investors, your distressed buyers, all that. Those guys are the ones that are doing 90% of the deals today, or 80% of the deals today. Not all, but most, right? That's how you got to look at it, right? And as we get out of this, those 80% of the conservatives are going to start to slowly come back into the whole thing. So you got to have this type of ongoing engagement with your consumers. And what I'm doing, all right, what I'm doing is I'm going to Urban Digs and I'm using my 1-week tool. And I'm doing this every week. I do it on Friday. I go to my YouTube and I do the coronavirus pandemic market update here. It says number 7. I do it every Friday. So I pick a date, right? Whoop, I'll get out of this. I pick a date, okay? I pick Friday. You guys can do whatever you want. And I've been doing this since the beginning, all right? How much active? Let me just do a search here. 1 week active. How many listings are coming on the market on a weekly basis? 71. Okay, so I can extrapolate that on a monthly level, it's about just under 300, right? So that I got that in my head, right? Then I go here and I can change it to contract signed. All right, how many deals are being signed? All right, let's check this out. 49. All right, so 49, that's on a weekly basis, that's 200 deals, right? I can go back to my chart room, and just like I did monthly new inventory, I could do monthly deal volume, right? This is my favorite chart. This is my favorite chart. It's the most consistent chart in terms of what's going on out there. And you can see in March, we're way down. But then partial exposure month. Right? April's our first full exposure month. So what do we typically get? We typically get over 1,000. How do I know that? Because I go to this chart and I look at the last 3 years, right? I always click 3 years because otherwise it's max. There's a ton of, I go back a lot with max. There's a ton of charts there, right? But it gets confusing. So I do 3 years on these. Just click the time scale, right? And if I wanted to do a report on this, I could just click add chart to share right down here. And I could just do export or share this with a client. Like, I mean, you guys have all these tools. If you don't know what Urban Digs is in terms of this, we are a full, like we're like a virtual buddy of yours. And we let you set up alerts, save searches, save listings, track them for changes, get daily alerts, go to charts, go to comps, go to CMAs, property pricing reports, building tools, save the reports, save them on Urban Digs, catch them later, download them later. That's what Urban Digs is, all right? And if you don't know everything, I have a help center up here with a whole ton of videos to get you started. But this discussion is more on what's going on out there, utilizing the chart room, getting neighborhood CMAs, and discussing on a local level what's going on. I'm trying to teach you. Here's what's going on. Here's what's normal, right? Here's where we are. Here's where we're trending, and here's what I'm looking for to tell my clients. Here's what I'm looking for to come back. Like, all right, so to come back. Let's just finish this. I did active at 71. I did contract signed at 49, right? Let's do off market. Those are the 3 ones you want to track. 102. Off market was at like 4 weeks ago, like when it was more severe, right? The fear level is way more severe. This was at 400. Off market was at 400. Okay. So off market starting to come down, which is a good sign. You don't want off market up. Off market goes up when sellers want nothing to do with the market. That means inventory should have been around 7,000 right now, but 800 or 900 listings came off the market, or 600 listings came off the market, and 1,200 listings that would have come on the market didn't. So between off market, things going off market, and stuff not coming on, inventory is depressed. So I think you might see off market, all those listings that were taken off market. That's your first sign of what's going to come back. I can track that, right? Let me just go back here. All right, I can go to my off market. Off market's right at the bottom, and I can go, okay, let me take a look at this, and let's just look at what's going on, right? And I could see, all right, again, frame of reference. Off market tends to go down. This is the time when off market usually goes lower, because that's what happens. This is our active season. Inventory goes up, pending sales goes up, off market goes down, right? But it changed. It changed right around March, which is right around the time everything changed. Everything started around early March. That's when everything started, going the other way and dislocating. So we were at 44.45, okay? And we were on a downward trajectory. So we should have still been going down a little bit. So maybe we should have been closer to 41 or 4,200 maybe by this time. But now we're at 48.73. So there's about 600, 700 units that were active and came off market probably because of the Corona crisis. That's a good way of extrapolating this. Another way of doing this, check this out, is going to my search tool, go into my custom period search, go to March 20th. That was the no showing order, March 20th. Go to March 20th to today, off market. That's going to show you how many listings came off. Here it is, 1,038. 1,038 came off since then, okay? So the question is how much of that comes back? That's where I think you're going to see your first surge in activity. Will be a bunch of listings that were off market. And they're like, all right, let's just wait until the restrictions are off and then we'll put it back. Then I think you're going to see at a lag, you're going to see new inventory coming on start to increase. That's why you want to watch 1 week actives and get an idea of what that pace level is, 71. That's why I do the weekly reports on the coronavirus. If you want, you can go back. If you missed all this, go back to the beginning. I have videos here. Click on videos, and you can go way back to the first one right here, a month ago. And you can see it. I track it so you can see where we've come from. I know that inventory was at around 6,700 when we started this whole mess. And now we're just about to break below 5,000. Okay. So the narrative is a number of things. Number one, hey, clients of mine, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for more weekly inventory. That will be a sign that sellers are feeling more confident and are willing to wheel and deal and list in this market. So I'm looking for this number to start rising. Okay. At the same token, I'm looking for contracts signed to start rising. Okay. This number is falling. I know that because I've been doing this every week. I've been doing it. It's been coming down from 90 to 80 to 70 to 60 to 50. Now it's at 49. So it's trying to find a bottom. So that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. So let's see what happens on Friday. Let's see where it ends up on Friday. But this is trending lower. Okay. You want to see this rise. And you'll see it. Like if you follow it, you will see it. If you do, if you don't, you're not gonna see shit. Pardon my French. But you're not gonna see shit. So this will rise from 50 to 60 to 70 to 80 to 90 to 100. And think about this now. All right, well, how could I use this? Well, if you've been doing this to your buyers, especially, your buyers are the only thing they could ask for is, could you tell me when this market's coming back? I want to take advantage of the dislocation and get a discount. But I don't want to miss it, So this is your first wave of defense, your ammunition to reach out to buyers to show them, yeah, we've been falling. Yeah, we've been falling. Yeah, we've been falling. But you know what? We're starting to bottom and we're starting to come back. And when you start to come back, you can tell your buyers, hey, listen, we've had 2 or 3 weeks of increasing activity. Here's how I know that. And if you miss it, go back a week. Look, I can go back. I could use this. This is beautiful like this. I can go back and say, all right, I missed, let's see here. Let's do the 12th to the 19th. I missed that period of contract signed, that week. So you can just do a search and see what it is. Here, 46. You can go back and change it. You can go back and change this and see different stuff. How many active came on during that time period? 72. How many went off market during that time period? 116. So you have these custom period tools that let you get the answers you need. You just need to figure out the narrative. Buyers need to understand something very, very simple, right? Yes, you have discounts. Yes, you have negotiability. No one's denying that. Yes, the market's in your favor in terms of that. But, and it's a big but, number one, you have a lot less inventory to choose from. Okay. There should be a lot more inventory in the market right now. There should be over 7,000 listings on the market right now. You got 5,043 and it's still trying to find a bottom, even though it looks like it's getting close. Clearly we're not steep diving before. All right. Second point, how many of this constrained inventory, this temporarily lower inventory, how many sellers are really going to hit your bid that is down 15, 20, or 25%? And all the buyers that are bidding right now, remember what I told you, there's different types of buyers. There's those 80% of buyers that are more conservative. Then you got those 20% opportunistic kind. Those are the guys that are making up most of the market today. So I can go back. Let me do this. I'm using my custom tool a lot because I love this tool, right? But let me go back to the no showings order, the no showings order to today. And let's look at contract signed, right? And let's just talk about this for a second. 326. Since the no showing order, 326 deals were signed. Okay, that should be like 1,500. All right, just to give you an idea. Of those 326, I bet you at least half, 160, if not more, are residual deals. Residual meaning the person has seen the property before March 20th. Maybe they were in the midst of an offer accepted in negotiation. Maybe they already had an offer accepted. Maybe they were already in the contract phase and they just needed to do a deal. So many different levels. You guys know how the flow works. It's not a 1 hour thing, right? A negotiation could be days or weeks. An offer accepted, then contract signing could be weeks, right? So these deals could be residual. So now let's say, all right, well, how many is true Corona? Well, what do we define as that? Well, let's look at our custom date. Maybe we say, all right, only deals signed after April 8th, I'm going to deem as true Corona, right? I'm just picking a date arbitrarily. Right? How many? 140. All right. Well, in that case, 140 deals, a majority of them may have signed at sight unseen. Again, you got to think, this is a depressed number. Very low. That's why it's highly dislocated. There is no market. And it's all over the place. And if you went to all these different brokers and you talked to this $9 million place right here, what do you think the bid was on that? You think the bid was 925? I mean, honestly, on a $9.3 million place that signed on the contract 5 days ago? Like, what is the listing discount going to be on this thing? Is the bid at 8.5? Is it at 8.6? And is it 8.7? What sellers are going to hit the gap down? If bid and ask spread is like this because the bids came down, what sellers are hitting that bid? That's a trader in me. That's how I think. And so if you look at a dislocated market, this is one of those markets that's just going to have an asterisk next to it. We're not going to know these deals until 4 to 6 months from now. They got contract signed. They got to close. That's going to take 3-4 months. And then we got to wait for ACRES. So this is not going to come public record till August, September, October, somewhere around there, right? So but where did they close? I bet you, if I keep looking down here, this 775, maybe it did close at 750 with a deal. And it's only down 5 or 6%. But I bet you that this 4.381 is notable. I bet you this 9.31 is notable. Of these 140, how many are distressed gap down bid sales, right? And that is what's going to come out of it. And the point is, there's not many of them. That's the point. It's thinly traded, very illiquid, highly dislocated. And it might be minus 25% here, and it might be minus 6% or 7% here. If you think about where the median is, I bet you the market is somewhere down between 12 and 15% from pre-corona right now, if you just take the median of everything.
No, if I can ask you a question. Of these, 140 that kind of went into contract after that, do you know what percentage are new development versus resales or?
You could do that, but I could look. If it's 140 with all, so I could just do new development here. And let's say, all right, how many are new development? So I could say 19 out of that 140 is new development. So there you go. So 120, what is that, 85%? Something like that? 120 out of 140 is resale.
Yep.
I would love to know I would love to know where that's at. This new development 9.3er. This guy got a deal. I bet you this guy got a deal. I would love to mark this for later. And you know what you could do? You could click on this and you could track it. I could save this listing and track it to my watch list. That's the beauty of this. I never tell these beautiful features that we built, but we built a watch list. And a watch list is for listings you want to watch. and you want to track. So I can just sit here and track it. And once these close, I'm going to get an email alert that these close, and I can check out what the price is, you know. But I'm gonna do some data on this when it comes. But this is a good way of showing. Oh, look at this. 108 Leonard, 11.5. Where do you think that deal's at? Signed on April 9th. You know, so this is you're going to have some really crazy numbers, but there's not going to be a lot of them. It's not going to be representative of the whole market. It's going to be a lot of outliers here, a lot of outliers there. Some of them are kind of in the world of reasonable, you know what I'm saying? But there's not a lot of it. And at the end of the day, you're going to think about Corona trades. It's going to be more like 2009. Who bought in 2009? Not a lot of people. You know, but if you bought in February, March, or April, or May of 2009, you did well no matter what at the end of the day. Right? February. So there was a 4 or 5 month window. That's what I think we're in now. I talk about this often. We're in a dislocated period, right? And if you think back to 2009, it didn't matter if you signed, again, April, May, June, July in 2009. At the end of the day, you still kind of hit the bottom. But if you signed the contract in February or March of 2009, there was a lot more fear at that point than there was in June of 2009. June 2009, we were already coming out of it, you know? It's just that you still had 5 years of reflation ahead of you. So think about where we're going to be in 3 or 4 years when that 6 trillion, 10 trillion stimulus gets pumped in. So I think we have a natural put, a floor in the market. We call it in trader world, it's called a put, a Fed put on the market that's putting a bottom on it. But that's not going to stop the dislocation trade. And that dislocation trade, you're going to see some crazy stuff, some 25, 30, maybe even 35% deals done because those sellers had to sell. And that's the whole point of this kind of thing is the sellers had to sell. They had to hit a bid. They had to liquidate. They had a margin call. They had a construction loan coming due. Who knows what the situation was, and they had to do a deal. Most sellers are not. That's why we're dislocated. Most sellers are biding their time. So buyers have to understand that. And if they don't, you're going to lose an opportunity. If you don't get this in their head now, like you got to manage their expectations with this kind of shit now. So that in 5, 6 weeks, when the activity starts coming back, and it will come back, you can be the one to be on top and say, hey, listen, this is exactly what I was talking about a month ago. It's happening. And give them the confidence to go and make a play while we're still dislocated. But let them know, like, you know, don't expect a 25% down discount. Maybe 1 out of 8, 1 out of 10 sellers is hitting that bid. That's the thing. Not every seller is hitting that gap down bid. So buyers are like, well, they're wrong. And sellers are like, no, you're wrong. I got time. I can wait. And that's what's going on right now.
Does anyone have any questions for Noah?
Yes, I do actually.
Okay,
I was just, first place, gosh, that's brilliant. That's all I want to say. I mean, that's just amazing.
Thank you.
But there are also a lot of sellers, I'm guessing, who have lost their jobs, can't pay their mortgage, that kind of thing. And that's going to happen too. So how is that going to play in?
Yeah, and that it's playing out right now. It's playing out right now. I could see it in these numbers right over here. However, let me just go back to, let me hide this. Oh, this has not new developments in it. Let me get that out. Right. And do a search. But the thing is that if every seller had to sell, if every seller had to liquidate and hit that bid, they would be doing it. And you would see these numbers much higher. These numbers would be at 500, 600, 800. If everyone had to liquidate and had a margin call, you would see it. You would see it. The only deals that are happening right now are those distressed sellers and sellers that are just happy to get out. It's 2 categories of things: distressed and happy to get out. Yeah, you know what? Think about those sellers that they have their place for 30 years, and maybe it was an estate, maybe someone died, maybe it was passed down. Who knows? But they have it, and it's a classic 6 or whatever. Who knows what it is? It's a $2 million place, and they have it from $500,000 in the 80s or 90s. You know what I'm saying? But they paid it all off, and it's $2 million, and the bid's 1.7. Okay, or it's $3 million and the bid's 2.6 or 2.5, and they just want to hit it because it's pretty much mostly profit for them. They're like, you know, I want out. So you got your distressed sellers, you got your new development sellers who have to sell, and you got the sellers that just, you know what, I'm okay selling. Just give me a market that I could sell into. All we could hope for is a functioning marketplace. Like if you're a seller and stuff gets nasty, like all you can hope for is that there are bids. The next question is are they acceptable bids? You know, is it bid 50% down? Is it 40% down? Is it 30% down? And where do you deem acceptable? So if you're a seller right now, the problem is that the only acceptable bids that are coming in are probably steep discounts that are pricing in the current uncertainty. And we're kind of right out of that fear. I think the fear trades, I think the best deals were really done mid-March to very early April. Like if I think back to the fear, back then, 5 weeks ago, the stock market was at its lows. It was at the depths of hell. We didn't know what was going on with the numbers were going straight up. We didn't have equipment for any of the hospitals. The level of uncertainty was much higher than today. So again, we're in this dislocated period. We're still dislocated, but this is more like we're now in May or June of 2009. Whereas, 5 weeks ago, it was more like February, March 2009. You know what I'm saying? So I think like 5 weeks ago, if you did a deal back then, I think you probably had more of a chance of a seller hitting a gap down bid and getting that big discount than you do today. And that'll probably continue over time because I think I think the Fed is just trying to reflate everything out of this. But no, sellers right now, you got to look at the numbers. Look at the contract signed. If they had to sell, they would sell and it would show on contract signed. This is the only way of measuring it.
Awesome. Anyone else have any questions for Noah? Well, thank you again, Noah. Really appreciate all of your time and going through this. And again, if anyone doesn't have access to Urban Digs who'd like it, just shoot me an email and we'll get you set up. Again, thank you, Noah, for your time and amazing insight and stuff like that.
Great. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Stay well and be safe out there. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Back on. So basically the last slide was everyone stay safe, be happy. Anyone have anything they want to bring up or anything they need help with? Paris, I'll give you a call after this to go over your specific questions. I'll send out a copy of the slides. I'll send out a copy of the new disclosure form. Again, we'll keep you updated on that. But have an amazing rest of your day. If you need anything, let me know. Work on your agent success plan, do your business plan. Contact me. We'll do a one-on-one. Let's get you going. Let's get you some business. So.
Recording, Jason. Where is the recording? Can you find it?
Of the meeting?
Yes.
I'll send it out as a YouTube link later today.